For decades, Wilmington, North Carolina has been a popular destination for film outside of California. We've been the site for popular movies and TV shows such as One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek, Iron Man, The Conjuring, and countless others. This town has a long history of film, but since the 2000s, North Carolina has been relying on a series of tax incentives to attract new productions. These incentives came under question and were briefly eliminated in 2014. But in the aftermath, people and policymakers have begun to question the value of these programs. This all leads to a question: are these incentives worth it? On a national level, these incentives started in the 1990s, as countries around the world began vying to become the next major film destination. Canada was one of the first countries to compete, starting their first incentive program in 1995. As the industry slowly left the US, the states began to retaliate. Louisiana led the charge, being the first state to enact its own tax credit, and other states followed suit. NC started its tax credit scheme in 2005 to re-establish its own waning film industry, but the situation was different from how it used to be. By 2009, nearly every state had its doors open to the industry, and competition was fierce. Supporters of these policies claim that they are helpful to state economies. They are intended to foster job growth and economic development, while also establishing a more permanent film industry. Supporters of these policies hope that by giving the industry a leg up, they will in turn boost their local economies, providing employment, increasing spending, and encouraging tourism. By nature, work in the film industry is highly volatile. Jobs in the film industry are given on a project-by-project basis and often don't last the full length of the production cycle. Many workers are temporarily taken from the community and sent to work on set, hairdressers and builders, for example. Movies and TV shows require workers with a very specialized skill set. It's difficult to find and maintain a workforce able to work in film, so most employees come from out of state, especially the highest paying positions. In New Hanover County, the local film production company Screen Gems, despite employing many people, doesn't even crack the top 25 list of employers in this county. On top of that, the influence industry spending has on the economy is questionable as well. Supporters claim that incentives are a reinforcing cycle. They claim that cutting the industry's taxes will allow productions to spend more, giving more money to local businesses who in turn hire more and buy more inventory, thus continuing the cycle. This is called the multiplier effect. It's the idea that a small government investment, such as a spending increase or a tax cut, can lead to a larger monetary output and GDP growth than what was initially invested. This phenomenon is one way governments can aid the economy, but when calculating the impact, things can get tricky. When studying their programs, New Jersey found that their incentives returned just 45 cents for every dollar spent. Louisiana got only 19 cents, and Connecticut received just a measly 9 cents per dollar. In North Carolina, despite the many attractive features the state has for film, the industry returns just 19 cents for every dollar spent on incentives. The final problem with trying to estimate the economic impact is the distortions these incentives cause in the economy. There's an opportunity cost involved with subsidizing an industry. Propping up the film industry diverts resources from other local industries, using local public services and causing undue competition for resources that otherwise would not have existed. Tourism is another major reason people want to support this industry. Some movies and TV shows are so iconic that they draw people from around the country to see the site where they were filmed. However, most movies are not at all iconic, and even those that are successful are usually forgotten. Studies have shown that it's often hard to determine what draws tourists to an area. Are they here to see the places where the films were made, or are they here for other reasons and touring these places along the way? Even if a state offers these incentives, there's no guarantee that anyone will come. Because so many states have these incentives, productions can be lost in a bidding war between them. There's constant pressure to increase the value of these incentives, making more modest programs useless. The film industry is highly mobile and can move almost instantly to wherever a better deal is to be found. For Wilmington, this was most apparent with the filming of The Last Song. The movie was based on a screenplay by Wilmington author Nicholas Sparks and set in Wrightsville Beach. The movie was initially set to be filmed in Wilmington, but at the last minute, producers pulled out and moved the production to Georgia, where it was ultimately filmed. This was due to Georgia's more generous incentives at the time.
What's she doing otherwise?
You heard she got into Juilliard, right?
No.
She says she's not going.
In the end, there are no easy choices to make about these incentives. While there is clear evidence against their use, there will be consequences to getting rid of them. The industry is fickle and will go where the incentives are to be had. Until various states and countries eliminate them, getting rid of the incentives means losing the film industry. However, despite all the glamour it brings, the film industry is a business, not a charity. It's not an easy decision, but it's up to the voters to choose the policies that are right for them.